Ooh, that's kind of small. Yikes.
What a boomer. All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are from. Welcome to the stream. Hello, Mr. Stephen Gerst. How are you, my bud? Doing well? I hope you are doing well. How's the weather by you? We've got hit with several storms in the last couple of days, but relatively been really nice out. Gotten a little chilly tonight now, but yeah, we had some good storms. And last night, boy, my wife just made it home. Big storm came through. I mean, we had hail. No tornado warnings. None whatsoever. You know, a friend of ours up in Madison, Wisconsin, was like between two tornadoes yesterday. But man, the hail was hitting the house. You're doing well. That is good to hear. It's good to see you. Thanks for coming and joining. So here I am streaming on EndeavourOS. I have quite a bit going. Windows is still my main streaming platform. Although I've been creating a lot of stuff, a lot more than I've ever have before. For use of using StreamerBot and other things in Linux. I've created a lot of scripts in that. You get our weather hours, or you get your weather hours after us. Yeah, boy, it was just coming down last night. Whoa, you know. And then throughout the night, a lot of thunderstorms came through, and April showers bring May flowers, right? Gosh. Shoot, I'll be mowing the lawn this weekend. I know that. We had our lawn aerated and dethatched, and I put down fertilizer. So with all this rain, boom. Oh well, that's what we have a house for, right? I could live in a condo, but then I'd have to pay for it. Hit you at 2 a.m.? As long as you are safe, that's good. You know, our friend Adam went down to his parking garage and hung out in his car with his wife. Yeah, well, we'll be cutting. This rain is good. But, as it will go, we'll have a lot of rain April and May. So June's going to look really nice. And then from July to September, it's going to be dry as a bitch. And the ground will look like crap. And then I will have to cut less. It's like, oh, that's the way it goes. That is the way it goes. So, yeah, just, I haven't... I started getting back into doing stuff in Linux. I just got tired. Linux is my main platform for doing stuff at home. My Windows is just for streaming. And but I thought, well, let me see what I can do again. And being on Endeavor, OBS is through the AUR. I won't really use the flat pack because I can only get 15 of the 30-something plugins that I use. And I had to create a voice control because voice control, you have to add voice control. You know, StreamerBot in Windows uses Windows voice control. So now if I go computer, right monitor.
Whoops. Here's the right monitor bus.
Slides right over. Talks to me. Did voice control with Vosk, V-O-S-K. It's cross-platform. Could be used on Windows and Linux. If you're on a Linux, or Mac. Of course I'm on one. If you're on Mac, you can use Vosk for voice control if Mac doesn't have a decent voice control. And then I got text-to-speech. My tablets are working. Although I was going to stream this afternoon, and OBS was just crashing like crazy. It's like every Wednesday, it seems like there is an issue. I don't know what it is, but a lot of crashing. But yeah, I get StreamerBot to work. I worked on a new scene today. Or I updated a scene. An action. Polaroid. A Polaroid picture. Computer, main view. That's smooth.
There is the main view, boss.
So I had a where it grabs a snapshot and it sends it as a Polaroid picture. I was working on this today. I think I got it all timing just right. So you can't see my head. I think I'll speed up the developing time there. And then it shows up at my Discord channel. But I used to have it go into another scene and that. So now I can do it. I finally wrapped my head around the actions. Takes me a bit sometimes. Got all sorts of stuff going. Being on Wayland, I can't, no custom docs. And which means there's no VSTs to use for voices. So I created voices with easy effects. And I have to use actually scripts and bash scripts and that to activate them. How's the microphone? I can't get my mic just right by using easy effects. I got the voice changes going.
I created a baby voice. I just have so much fun. That looks like a rattle. Can I have it?
And then it should go back to my normal voice. I have a hacker voice, hologram voice. The robot voice and all that. I've been working on a robot voice to use with a scene in a retro TV, and for some reason it just picks up a noise. Can't figure out what it is. So I do miss my VSTs. And I miss on Windows, so I have an NVIDIA card. I miss the background removal. Got the NVIDIA SDKs, NVIDIA AR, NVIDIA Studio, all on my Windows setup. So background removal works really well. Here I have to use a plugin that is very CPU, and it brings down my frames per second really bad. When I turn it on like this, and it looks like You know, the guy does a pretty decent job, but this is really... My frames drop about 20 per second. CPU usage went from 10 to 24%. But I don't want to, but I think with my Linux setup, I'm gonna have to go back to a green screen. I don't want to. I'm just lazy. I don't like setting up my green screen. And the lighting, you know, I just gotta play with the lighting. And I gotta adjust my camera. Here I just get the back of my room. So pretty much from the closet over here to the door over here, the green screen covers that. So I gotta zoom in a little bit to crop out the other stuff. And like chroma key and that barely uses any system uses in that, so I wish I can get NVIDIA AR on Linux. I think there's a way to do it on Ubuntu, but I was looking at some of the steps and you gotta join some NVIDIA program and this and that, and just... So I'm splitting up my streaming, 2 days on Linux, 2 days on Windows. So I'll have to redo my Polaroid thing. And what's great is I can just kind of copy my sources over from one to the other. That's cool. So what have you been using, Steven? I see you once in a while over in the chat on Linux Saloon. I got out of like doing distro reviews and all that. It just too many changes, too many updates, too many things working well on Linux, but then again, too many things not. But then anyway, what's problems is Windows, there's problems in Linux, there's problem in Mac, there's problems in maybe BSD, I don't know. Never used BSD. I never used the Mac. But I'm having fun. You know, I got a startup script going. I can start up all my programs for streaming. MX and Mint DE forever. The problem I find with Debian, and I don't care who does what with it, is for me with OBS and that, and what I do, Debian, no matter who makes it, is not going to cut it for me. Like I said, I can use a Flatpak. The Flatpak's the official, outside of the Ubuntu PPA from OBS. The Flatpak is the other official. Technically, the AUR package that I'm using is not official, but one of the OBS helpers, you know, he's in the Linux forum on the OBS side, and he builds it, so they'll support it. Oh,
Steve,
my
someone has
God.
joined the chat on Twitch.
Hello, Thailand!
JD.
Steve, someone has joined the chat on Twitch.
Hello, JD.
Welcome back. Certainly glad you could join us today.
How are you? Thank you for the raid. Now I'm gonna bore everybody to death. Well, thank you, JD. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Hello, Nameless Coder. I am a boomer streamer. I
Steve,
right now.
someone has joined the chat on Twitch.
Hello, Mohammed. How are you? I've been getting back into. I've been in Linux for about 10 years.
Joined the chat on Twitch.
Hello, butter toast with jam. Welcome. Welcome. This is nice. This is nice. I almost didn't come on tonight. And thank you guys for the follow. So I don't get into a lot of programming like JD does. I've been in Linux for about 10 years now. I used to do reviews and that with Linux. I got tired of some of the political views of Linux and that. And I just wanted to have fun with streaming, and I learned about StreamerBot. And I always had to make workarounds to make things great. Well, thank you, JD. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. You know, it was just better for me to be on Windows with all the stuff that I can do, all the VST, you know, from VSTs to, you know, StreamerBot and all that. But I decided to really get back. Linux is always my daily driver. I do all, you know, all my daily stuff in Linux. Windows has just been my production stuff. And I decided, well, let me check to see what I can do. And all of a sudden, yeah, and I will admit that I am using a bit of AI. But I'm writing scripts that I've never done before, and I've got automation going that I've never had before. Without, like, there's certain plugins in OBS that help me with automation and that. And it's been fun. It's been fun. I was talking to my friend Steve over on, he's in YouTube today. But we were just talking, you know, like Debian based systems. Yeah, you know, yeah, the packages are old. I don't care if they're stable. That's such a bogus point of view, I think, with Linux. I'm going to use Debian because it's stable. But then you have old packages or not kept up packages. If you run the flat packs, you're good. But even then, you know. But so I was working on some things, and I almost didn't go on streaming. So if you guys are still there, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you, JD. But I'm an older guy. I'm actually 69 years old, and I am learning more than I ever have before. I've been into computers for, God, since what, 1989? My first computer was an IBM 186. I think the hard drive was 20 megabytes. Had 5.5 inch, or 5.25 inch floppies. I'm self-taught. My brother-in-law, he had gotten into the side business. He worked for a hospital. And every time that they would upgrade their systems, if they were going to get rid of the computers, he grabbed them and rebuilt them. So yeah, I used to be on a 186 back in the day. He sold me a CRT monitor, a 186 system, a matrix printer for $150. I had that matrix printer for years. Almost wish I didn't get rid of it, but because it was still working. But I'm self-taught and all the things, and I used to tear apart Windows like crazy and all that. But I never got into really writing stuff or scripts or that. And it takes me a while, and I still don't get a lot of stuff, but I can, you know, if it's given to me, I can kind of look at it and see where I can make changes, like HTML and CSS and that. I can take a look at that, and, you know, like I designed this with, this is actually, you can do this one with Tuna plugin and OBS, but it's actually running through. I have a setup with it's an HTML setup in that. My lower third, that's a HTML setup. So I do a couple of different things in that. But my goal to get back into Linux was to get closer to a full Windows setup, which is gonna be, I'm never gonna be 100% with it because there are just some things that won't work. Over on Linux, I don't know if you guys, use Linux at all or that. We have an issue over with the new, was it the Windows capacity system, Wayland? Steve had a Commodore 64 at home and a Motorola 6800 in school. Well, in my senior year of high school, 1974, I was in a work program. It was called Distributed Education, and we were able to get classes. And I had to have the first 4 classes in the morning, and then I was out of school by 10:30, so I can get a job. And the job was actually my 5th class, or part of my grade.
Steve,
And
someone has joined the chat on Twitch.
hello, Caffeinated Linux. How are you today? You redeemed a gigantified in a mode? Do I have those? Oh, well, I'm so far behind in knowing my Twitch stuff. But I don't remember anything, but we did a bit of Fortran and COBOL. Wayland, it's cool, but it breaks some tools. Yeah, it's gonna be better. It's more secure. Windows and all that. The Gigantify emotes are built into Twitch. I'm going on a year. Oh, I'm going on 2 years on Twitch, and I'm such a boomer, What a boomer. Oh, I get 30 cents out of it. Thank you. But OBS with Wayland, custom docs don't work, custom browser docs don't work, and you can't open up the VST windows because it uses a Chromium embedded framework, and they haven't worked Wayland into the framework yet. It's on a to-do list. It keeps getting closer. For voice changes and that, I have to use Easy Effects. And then I use scripts with that to change. But I built the voice control. It's using Vosk. I actually have in my script the voice control. Then SpeakerBot doesn't work in Linux. I think some may have gotten to work, but the problem with SpeakerBot is it uses Windows voice system, and of course now you could try to maybe install that in your bottles or white install, but I don't think there's too much success on it. But someone made a program. It's called Speakaboo, and it's a very lightweight. It's made with Piper TTS. And it uses the StreamerBot WebSocket and UDP. So StreamerBot thinks it's SpeakerBot. So now I can have voice control. So if I do voice control is separate, but I have now voice. I can change voices in that. I can't use any custom voices. All right, Steve, take care. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate that. Sorry if I pissed on your Debian, but so like my voice control. If I go again, if I computer left monitor.
Here's the left monitor bus.
I'm gonna get a reply. If I do it manually, I'm not gonna get a reply. So that's coming from the speaker booth, which uses Onyx. So any voice program that's like usually Piper TTS, some home systems and that, you can use it, and you can find voices in that. And if you're a Doctor Who fan, I found a K9 voice. I have a Picard voice. Data, I haven't been able to. I didn't install Data yet, but it comes with a lot of voices in that you can pick out with the for the voice profiles, and it works really well. I have more bash scripts than I have ever done in my life. I've used bash scripts to install stuff. I've never created them. So with each profile that I have in Easy Effects, like I have a couple ways I can trigger them. Usually they go through my actions, but I have Touch Portal on my tablet in front of me here. And if
I hit, now it should be a baby voice. And, he's, you know, he said, I think that's a rattle up there. Can I have that rattle? I don't know, I'm being stupid, I'm tired.
Then a hacker voice. But on the touch portal, it doesn't, like, for most of my keys, if I hit a scene change, if I go back to my scene change, you'll see it change color. But for the bash scripts, because you can use touch portal to trigger the bash scripts, it doesn't do anything. So now, like on my right monitor, which my notification comes up, so if I change now to a hologram voice, you'll see notification come up. That way I know it's running, so that's a hologram.
but then I know that I'm back to my normal, I'll call it my normal voice. And I have, so with certain scenes, so like if I go into the holodeck,
Put this screen here. Oh, that didn't work out right. Hold on. I normally don't change scenes like that when I'm doing a thing. It didn't pick up my, there we go. Didn't pick up the background anymore. So, the SpearBot will run scripts on Windows scripts, but it won't run Linux scripts that I have it in files. So, what
StreamerBot does pretty well is, you know, it has write the file. So in my action, I have a write the file, but then over on the Linux side, I have it listening for those files to be updated. And when that file is updated, then it triggers the voice action. You know, it's something I have to do because voice changes. There are some for Linux, but then to tie them into OBS and SpeakerBot and that, I haven't found an easy way. So those are the stuff that I've been doing in Linux, and I've been pretty happy with it. So what kind of stuff do you guys? I mean, are you? I know JD does a lot of stuff in Godot, right? And he's been making games and such for a long time. I started following him when I seen him with in Finite Singularities chat. But yeah, so now I'm figuring out what else that I can do. Hello again, JJBB1261. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. It's been a productive night. Thank you, people. Thank you very much. I could keep things a lot simpler and find me like an Ubuntu system that might be still on X11 and install OBS that way, the official Ubuntu version. Because then all like the plugins, the one good thing about a lot of the plugin developers is they are also making their plugins for Linux. Now, being on Arch, I have to depend on someone else to package those. And on Windows, I think I have 34 plugins. On Windows, or on Linux, I have 31. There are a few that are not Linux created, or they don't work really well, or are not in the AUR. So I guess my next step is I've never really compiled anything myself. So that might be my next step, where I compile the plugins and that. But I wish for these developers, because I know they like between Windows and Linux, the windowing systems, right? So between Windows and Linux, like Linux uses OpenGL, right? And they have to work that into their build. But I think most of the time it's pretty automatic what they got. Now, if they made more flat packs like that, but the problem with the flat pack OBS, even though it works pretty well, there are some plugins that are just not going to be, because like the Tuna plugin uses a lot of stuff in VLC. They will not package how they do OBS. You know how if you're on OBS, you can use VLC sources and that. You're not going to be able to do that on flat packs. But at least the Flatpak, you know, the Flatpak OBS is officially supported. That's their second Linux, official Linux install. It's either on Ubuntu, the PPA, or the Flatpak. But over a year ago, a friend of mine said, why don't you try Ubuntu, try EndeavourOS, and that way you'll have a, you know, with your drivers and that, because I got myself now a RTX 4060, which over then on Windows, I can use the NVIDIA AR, you know, and got the NVIDIA SDK installed. I have NVIDIA Studio, none of that stuff for Linux. So half the card that I have, it's lost. And I got to deal with background removers that look like this. So what do you guys like to do? I mean, what is it that you find interesting in computing or that. I just have fun with this stuff now. That's what it's all about. I am, like I said, I am getting older. I am 69 years old. I needed something to. I retired.
Steve, someone has joined the chat on Twitch.
Hello, nice first word. Use it for regular stuff like music, movies, webs, and games. Perfect. I mean, there's no any computer, any operating system. There's no right, no wrong way. If it works for you and does what you want it to, it's perfect. I have, my wife is on. I have her on Arch Linux on her laptop, and all she does listen to podcasts, watch YouTube, does research, email, music, Zoom. She Zooms with a friend of hers. Does what it needs her to do. Does what she needs it to do, not what it needs her to do. We haven't gotten there yet with computers. Mohammed's been using Linux for 4 years mainly. What do you use? I was a long-time user of Pop! OS. I like the desktop. I like the setup in that, but I don't think it was ready yet. Especially with the distribution. What Linux US? What Linux are you using? Because if you're a Linux enthusiast, you don't say it's a Linux OS because it's a distribution. No, call it whatever you want. But what platform? What's your system? I said I've been using it for about 10 years, and ever since my wife brought home, she works at a local library, and they had little Asus netbooks for the patrons, and now they were going to iPads. And the netbooks ran XP. You couldn't even get Windows 7 on them. 1 gig of memory. I upped it to 2, and I started looking at Linux, and that's how I got into Linux. But Pop! OS was my thing. But Peppermint OS in the beginning. You use Ubuntu and Kali Linux because you're a cybersecurity student. Okay. What I hate is this invisible war between Windows and Linux, and then Mac gets put in the middle. It's like a scene from 1984, where they're battling each other, or two sides go after one.
Steve,
and
someone has joined the chat on Twitch.
Hi, welcome back. Certainly glad you could join us today.
Hello, Omega Beast. How are ya? Thanks for stopping by. How's your walking and exercising going? It's been rough for me. I've been trying. It just, my back is just so bad. But never would I thought that I would really be an Arch user. But EndeavourOS makes it so easy. And I'm on the GNOME desktop. You only had the exercises to walk today this week? Well, you're still a young man, so you keep up with it. Don't get old and fat like me. Well, I'm gonna try it a lot like Fedora and Arch distributions, and there's, I mean, yeah, you can go crazy. There are, you know, it's like you'll finally find one that fits like a nice glove, right? You know, and it works for you. But I had never thought, oh, I'm not gonna be that guy. You know, I think I built Arch once with the scripts. Never again. I know some people can do it in their sleep. Forget it. And you know, as far as like Debian, why, you know, it's not, they're updating things a little more quickly these days. But like in their software centers, just old stuff, or it's not updated because it's got to be stable. You created a post on the GNOME page on Reddit today. What'd you post about? Because I thought you were a KDE user. Because I know what you've been building, right? Isn't that KDE? You know, with KDE, your desktop, your Mac-like desktop. But I have Arch on 4 computers here at home. I have my wife on Arch. In fact, here I have, so I have 3 monitors. I built this monitor. This is off a laptop. Oh, you're trying to change something on Evolution Mail? Using CSS? But that's one of my Endeavor laptops. I use that to monitor the stream. So I have Twitch on one side, YouTube on the other, and I make sure that it's running.
Welcome to my life.
Hello, Cody. It probably didn't work because I was in another scene. Here, I'll run it for you. I'm doing random now. With I think I might have to update something there that didn't go off. Let's try it again. There you go. That hot sauce, I'll tell ya. Alright, it's not turning off the... What's in here? Or is that on the redeem part? isn't it turning off the background remover? So what are you up to? Is it past my bedtime? My bedtime's about 11:30 at night. We got the same bedtime? Well, yeah, you have to get up for work early now, right? You're at 7 o'clock or so? I've never, even being retired now, I've never been a long sleeper. I'll go to bed. You don't always go to sleep right away. I stay up for a little bit because we'll just say my house gets noisy at night. I don't know why I keep getting stuff from Steam. I got an email. Your key for Under the Disco Lights 80th Bar Simulator. Hi, our game Under the Disco Light is out on Steam. It's a stylish 80s bar simulator with mixology, store-driven characters, and environment. I don't know why I am getting this. I got a thing for a kind of like sponsorish program, but it's I think it has to do with some kind of gambling gaming. I'm like, I just deleted it. He was saying at the girlfriend's house more so it's a 1 hour and 15-minute drive to work. Oof. I don't know if it caught me other. I would have to message you on it, but it looks like our trip to Metropolis is out. My wife has to have. She's got training classes that weekend, so we will not be able to go. So we'll either have to figure out something else at another time, or wait till next year. I'm sorry. But sorry, I'm waiting for a message from my son. My wife's picking him up and his mom's picking him up, and we have to finish our dinner. We haven't eaten yet. We eat too late. So, but I you know, with Linux, so I mean, I have nothing against it. I use it daily. I just got tired. Speak of the devil, there he is. Going to Dairy Queen. Okay. So, But unfortunately, I am going to have to call it a night. It was I was going to start like at 6:30 today, and just having problems. So I wanted to stream and to make sure that things were working. So I appreciate JD the raid. I appreciate you guys coming in. I appreciate the extra subs, not subs, follows. I do appreciate the follows. So you'll find me here, dependent. My streaming days are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and then Sunday. So I'm U.S. Central. So you'll usually find me Tuesdays between 2:30, 3:30 Central Time, -6 UTC. Wednesdays, lately it's been this time in the evening or this time wherever you're at, around 6:30 Central Time. And Thursdays I do an afternoon here, Central Time, about 2:30, 3:30, and I do GeoGuessing. So that's my one game during the week. I do GeoGuessr. And then I have a stream on Sunday mornings I call the Coffee Clutch, where we just sit and, talk about anything. I really don't do anything with programming or anything like that. So I hope to see you guys back then. So, computer, time to say goodbye. Computer, let's say goodbye. I always forget. Computer, time to say goodbye. There we go.
Thank you all for stopping by.
All right. I want to thank Steven Gerst, Nameless Coder, JD Does, Dev, Mohammed Dasham, Buttered Toast, Caffeinated Linux, JB, Omega Beast, and Cody Lamer. Great. What a great day. Thank you very much, you guys. Thanks for the follows. I appreciate it. Hope to see you again. Oh, that's okay, Cody. You were putting kids to bed. You're practicing. Oh. Uh-oh. So, tomorrow, Thursday, will be GeoGuessing. We'll be doing some GeoGuessing tomorrow. So I hope you stop by if you see me on. And otherwise, I'll be on again Sunday morning. So thank you guys. Take care. And we'll see you soon. Bye now.